Hey everyone, it's Mama Soul Doc Maya Alapin. I'm not a medical doctor or a mental health care practitioner. Well, I guess I'm known at this point for the phrase, what's the problem? And the reason for that is because it's my favorite induction. So, in traditional hypnosis, inductions are more fantastical, like, you're walking into a down a staircase, you're on the beach, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, relax, etc. So that's like the typical induction. Other inductions could be things like snapping or touching someone or clapping, handshake. So what's so cool about asking somebody what's the problem is I'm not just doing one thing. I'm not just creating relaxation. The whole idea of a beach or, some comfortable place or counting is to deepen the relaxed state so that the mind becomes more malleable or more suggestible. But my approach is not like that at all. My approach is to kind of pierce the beginning of the exploration of the subconsciousness by asking the client, why are you here? What's the problem that brought you here? Obviously, they know that because why else would they have paid me and signed up? So if I begin with what's the problem, then I have already begun a process of inquiry into the reason behind the presenting issue. So what happens when you say what's the problem is the client already has to search their subconscious mind. Some clients will give you a conscious answer. I'm not saying that that's not a possibility. In fact, a lot of them will give you a first try at with a conscious answer, and that's okay. Of course, there's ways. That's the whole point of the job, right? Is there are all kinds of ways to advance the trance no matter what the answer is. But what's the problem is a very good opening because for one thing, it is immediately giving me information on if the client is immediately in a trance or towards one, or they're going to remain in consciousness. At the same time, we're creating rapport because we're having this conversation about why were they here, so I'm listening to them. I already know a lot about that because I've done my due diligence. I've had an intake, I've had a discovery call. So we're creating more trust. We're beginning the untying of that problem just by asking what's the problem. Like I said at the start, we're entering into the problem. We're piercing that initial entryway into the subconsciousness. So we're going to start tracing the problem back. We're also immediately creating deepening of the experience precisely because we're not creating it artificially. So the very fact that the client is already on a journey with themselves, already on an inward path, is deepening the experience for them. So I don't need to use a deepener like, okay, double your trance, because as I ask my next question, it will evolve naturally. So the deepening begins with what's the problem? This is also a convincer because immediately we're becoming internalized. And so the initial sense of trance is very easy to come by and familiar. So what's the problem is very complex for me and very interesting to me, even though it's just 3 words, because for each person, it has a different way of landing, a different response. It's informational in a different way, it's therapeutic in a different way, and it's universally effective because everybody has an initial way of entering in on that answer. There's no way to not search your soul or not search yourself on some level just to come up with an answer to that. So I love what's the problem as a suggestion or as an induction. It's not a suggestion. I guess in a way it is a suggestion actually, but it's really more of an induction. And I love it as an induction because it's doing so many things for me and for the client, and it's giving me so much data, and I'm able to get so much information about the client's subconscious just based on that 3-word exchange and whatever they say back to me. So for me, it's the cat's meow because it is so effective and so succinct. And of course, there's more to say about it because once I've asked that, there's many other things to do to really capitalize on it. That's a little bit about what's the problem as an induction, as my favorite induction. If you have any questions, please ask me. Thanks for listening. This is Mama Soul Doc in Montreal, Quebec.